Capricorn, this is your August reading, so I'll go deeper into these cards pulling more, but the overall tone of this energy is that you've been confused, you've been very back and forth on something. Recently things have been very messy, not making a whole lot of sense to you. The Seven of Cups tells me that you thought something was a sure thing. You thought something was very positive for you, that you had the real upper hand around something. And you might still. The Six of Pentacles coming through as the energy in August, telling me that you are able to manage the situation, but that there is overall Seven of Swords in a reverse as like something that you don't know yet, something that's still kind of being hidden, maybe even by you, Capricorn. It could be you that has something deceptive on your mind, or this could be just your indecision moving something along, because even though behind the scenes, or maybe even more obviously to you, you do know that the situation is moving like with a decision. This Father of Swords, just a very definite, ruling, very stern, rigid in their point of view on something. So it tells me that this is something unyielding that is in motion right now. But it has been you realizing where you've been fooling yourself. And it seems like towards the end of July, beginning of August, there has been some realizations for you that something you thought was good at the time, this period of success, there was something a little empty about it. You perhaps thought when you got this, retained this, that it would be fine, but then on reflection you're beginning to realize like that wasn't actually what had been making you happy or feeling successful. So there has been some harsher realities being faced by you. Now it seems that you do actually manage to balance things out in the month of August. After that full moon on the 11th of August, that's going to be in Aquarius, the other Saturnian ruled sign, and actually conjunct the planet Saturn. So full moon in Aquarius. Aquarius is ruled by Saturn. Saturn is going to be beside the full moon or in alignment with it as close as possible. At that exact time, there is kind of like a shift, or there's like a somber or sobering energy that's felt by the collective. It's like, the reality hits, like you see something for what it is. It's not like it's totally unpleasant to you, but for some it just marks a real sense of like, well, I thought I was going somewhere completely different with this. Or just like you doubted. You're like, how did I not see that? Or like you were kind of like, your doubts about a situation are like coming to fruition, and it maybe isn't making you feel very secure because you have to like rethink things, re-strategize things. Or there could be a level of deception at play. Let's just get into this reading, okay? I feel like that intro took its time. Let's look at the Seven of Cups. And I'm putting this energy around late July, beginning of August. So let's take it up to around the first week of August. But overall, just take this as it resonates. I find that any time you see a reading or watch it, that's probably when it's meant to be, or that's the intention I set. The Hierophant, okay, and the Ten of Wands, right. This was soul growth, so this is the first major arcana card we're seeing. This is a real card of teaching, receiving the key. Like it's kind of like unlocking a part of our consciousness, or unlocking of a memory, unlocking of just a realization. You know, everything happens when it's meant to. The penny drops around a relationship, a certain, actually an illusion. The Seven of Cups is an illusion. We can create all sorts of illusions and delusions for ourselves. It's very easy to get swept up sometimes because, you know, people can be very deceptive, or situations just don't always appear to be what, or seem to be what they appear to be, because with other people at play you can perhaps fully never know the extent of what's truly going on in these dynamics, but you've had to learn something. It's kind of like the Ten of Wands being like, this is over the top now, like it's kind of just becoming all encompassing. Like this energy looks like I'm lost in a sort of woods and I just can't see the light fully. Like there's a lot blocking here, there's a lot that could be kind of like becoming very intense all at once. So that could be when, you know, there's a rock bottom, so to speak, or a kind of like there's too much of an obstacle, there's too much force, like that you can't kind of maintain it anymore. So there's an inward kind of reflectiveness on this, and a kind of deluding yourself around an emotional situation perhaps, or about something that you deemed successful that turned out to not have the substance or the kind of emotional reward even. Could be something like that, but there's a teacher energy coming through with the Hierophant. That's the soul growth, like a humbling to like learning, a humbling to allowing yourself to be taught something, to being a good student, right? It's valuable to be a good student as much as it's valuable to be a good teacher. And I'm sure, Capricorn, you know about, you know, I guess you can be both a teacher and a student, right? Which do you identify more with? Maybe the teacher, the Saturnian influence. Okay, so you're okay sometimes with being the teacher role, but you know, as a student, you should just mark yourself on how good your ability is to take in information and be taught. So there's been some lessons and some schooling, I would say. Some of this is coming up around something to do with land, something to do with just structural situations anyway, maybe something to do with religion. People are having certain thoughts and opinions about religion. Okay, so there's a definite choice to kind of part with this kind of darker energy that's coming through so far, the Moon card and the Two of Wands. There's definitely an option for a choice, or a pause for reflect, the Moon card. It's like there's certainly enough space there for you to say, wait up, like, and consider. So that's good. You're not under huge like time pressure, it seems. It's just like pressure of something greater, like something that has been built up for you. Okay, so we'll go look at what's happening around the full moon on the 11th for you, Capricorn. The Three of Wands. Okay, so some of you do take that leap of faith that the Two of Wands was talking about. There is a choice to take a chance here and do something that seems a little ballsy or brave. The Five of Cups. Okay, so some of you don't take that chance, and it's really up to you, and that's fine. Either way, the energies are just minor arcana. The Fool card just being about the risky nature of it, and for some the risk is hard to take because it would involve leaving something behind on an emotional level. The facing up to what this Seven of Cups is, it kind of would maybe make you like think like, oh, now that I know this, it's just like doesn't mean as much, or it's not the same. Okay, so there's that risk, right? One pathway leads you down, it seems, the Three of Wands, an energy of knowing when it's time to stay, time to go, knowing when it's time to move on, when it's time to pursue other directions, coming through. Five of Cups could be a continued cycle of disappointment with trying the same thing, or keeping, fooling yourself. So moving on, we're striking a balance though. Maybe you have to do a little bit of both, maybe you have to dabble, maybe it's not that cut and dry. A whole host of situations could be coming through for you. There is a choice on some level, but that doesn't mean it's necessarily easy or straightforward or just in plain sight even. Let's have a look at the Six of Cups. or Six of Pentacles, I should say. Balance coming when around the 23rd of the month, maybe. The Chariot, yeah, the moon moves into Cancer around the 22nd, 23rd of the month. This is the card for Cancer. Okay, so around then, it's I guess sad horse is more kind of now like successful horse. And you know, even if you did have to, like, even facing up to the fact that, like, you may have to leave, or you may have to do something different, or just take a different approach, or know when it's time that you've had enough, or the party's over, you know, then you can like have the sadness about that sort of chapter or a chapter of your life is closing. But overall, you find a lot more victory, balance and determination to very much combat these insane thoughts you've been having. Just kidding, Capricorn. To combat these more penetrating Nine of Swords in reverse swords, and that's very mental energy sometimes. So it can be like these penetrating thoughts, and you know, we have all sorts of thoughts, so that doesn't really reflect a true soul, your true soul nature or anything like that. And there has been a lot of overstimulation, maybe you find. So I know that you're trying to find balance, and it comes around the 23rd. But you've had to learn, perhaps, and be humbled as to like how active of a role do you play in the lingering or the moving. Two of Swords, Two of Cups, Two of Wands at the bottom of the deck. All these twos, it's just choice, right? There's a duality here. There's, should I not do this? Should I do it? There's a hesitation. There's a wanting, you know, so there's all of these things. And I did see that at the beginning of the reading. The Seven of Swords in reverse just told me that you're vacillating. You're like going back and forth between what you believe, what you want to do, what you think is good for you. So there is all of that. The Father of Cups in the middle of that situation, a leaving energy. I also got, or like, when is it? It's time to know when you're pouring too much of your energy in. You'll know that because it won't be balanced. You'll feel drained from that situation. So you'll, I guess, have an indication as to where you're pouring energy into, but it's not being refilled in any way. A drain in some way. Could be on an emotional level, financial level, or a spiritual level. Any level. The Chariot card and the Six of Wands, yeah, so that's when it's a bit more empowering, but you have to face up to the fact that basically what I was saying was like, you are an active participant in this in a sense, but choices, you have many choices in your control, small choices, big choices. It's all about the art, I guess, of learning discernment, and sure, that's what's coming up. Okay, so let's look at the Seven of Swords. Still at the end of the month, it seems like are you closer? We'll see. Are you closer to there? But it doesn't seem fully decided. Still confused and vacillating, I would say. Between the Seven of Cups at the start, the Seven of Swords at the end. Okay, Mother of Wands, Death card. Okay, Ace of Swords, I like to see that. And of course, the only two we haven't seen yet, the Two of Pentacles. Great, a nice balanced choice. You're in no rush, it seems. You have until the end of the month where something becomes a bit more like decisive, but by you, like it's kind of like comfortable. It's a comfortable choice. The Two of Pentacles, we often see something lopsided back and forth, but in this version it's balanced, like they're in harmony here. So there is like a comfortable choice being made, and I like that. Okay, so yeah, there's a level of affronting here, right? We've got these Marsy cards with Scorpio and Aries energy, the signs ruled by Mars. Like, that's kind of affronting, or kind of a little hostile and rude I'm picking up in this energy, right? There's like some sort of an unpleasant encounter. The Seven of Swords in reverse is kind of like you have maybe some sort of a low blow up your sleeve. Maybe it gets brought out, but anyway, watch out for that, because you're not sure. You're still, this is not as like straightforward as it seems, and things remain to change with the Death card. This isn't set in stone yet. Like right now, what's going on, that may not be what it's like in 12 months time or 8 months time or even less. So by the springtime, there could even be like this rebirth in energy. Saturn will be leaving Aquarius in March 2023, ending its almost 3-year cycle in Aquarius at that point. Over 3-year cycle, like 3 years and 3 months. And we'll be having a Saturn in Pisces 3 years. Should be very interesting. But anyway, that kind of heaviness, it's more constructive in Aquarius. In Pisces, there'll be a lot of dissolving of boundaries for sure. And Saturn Neptune conjuncting in Pisces in a few years' time, a dissolving of limits around consciousness actually. So that's cool. Let's have a look out for what you are really doing like a death rebirth on, Capricorn, by the end of the month. You feel in a different place, slightly more empowered, but maybe a little bit too revved up. I got this message around being bohemian this month coming through, and being more bohemian than people think is what I thought was coming through anyway. I'm trying to think if there's anything else, but I think not. I'll pull one more card for the closeout of this reading. And thanks for sticking with me, Capricorn. Consider subscribing to this channel if you haven't already. The Eight of Wands again. So this kind of like moving on, the decision in place again with the Father of Swords. Around the 11th, 12th of the month, maybe even behind the scenes, there's more of a rapid unfolding of decisions or kind of logistics or infrastructure or things needed by you around an issue that could be currently out of your hands. But overall, you may even be on the road a little more, traveling due to work this month. That could be coming up too. There could be like a very creative download as well, all of a sudden, that's coming through. Thank you for watching, Capricorn. See you soon.